Absolutely. I think very clearly, the sort of ordinary everyday lives of most French people will change quite dramatically over the next few days and certainly weeks. I think very clearly Emmanuel Macron and Edouard Philippe have taken some very real leadership on this issue and shown really that French people and indeed people living in France as a whole now need to take this a bit more seriously and sort of stay away from public areas, going far beyond what the measures are currently in the UK. So I think what France is doing is moving into a similar stage as Italy. What's very interesting, of course, is the municipal elections are due to go ahead for the first round of those tomorrow, showing, I think, that France is willing to sort of value democracy even at a time of national crisis.
But just on that point, why is the government so eager to see this poll go ahead when gatherings in bars and cinemas have been banned?
Well, I think it's a very interesting point. I mean, if you look at sort of not only cinemas and restaurants, but also bars and so on, I think what Emmanuel Macron and his party are trying to show is that they're open to scrutiny and open to the opportunity of people in France to sort of demonstrate their democratic rights. I think this is in real contrast to the UK, where, for example, local elections have been put back a year. So, they're going ahead as normal. I think that shows a real value for Macron and his party in terms of the democratic process. I think Macron's hoping to, of course, try and maintain some control over local councils across France, but notably in Paris in particular, there's a real challenge to his authority there. It's likely that Rachida Dati or the socialist candidate Anne Hidalgo will go on to the second round. So in some ways, it's I guess Macron is trying to maintain some sense of normality, but also trying to win over local authorities as well.
But is this all, though, just in your view, a case of the stable door being closed once the horse has bolted?
Well, I think in France as well as in the UK, of course, things are slightly different to other countries, for example, Italy or indeed China, where this all began. And I think what France is trying to do, and Macron in particular with his address on Thursday night, is really trying to show that in some ways life can continue. So the idea of exercise, going outdoors for a little bit can continue. But I think really now it's the next stage of the process. I'm not by any means an expert in the medical process at all, but I think Macron has shown some real leadership here, as is indeed Philippe and the wider government. So I think what Macron is trying to do is trying to say, this is the next stage of the operation, the same way as perhaps the Republic of Ireland or indeed the US to some extent, and saying actually, this is now a time to think about putting ourselves as a kind of a leader in this area, trying to, I suppose, give opportunities for people to have some opportunities to go outside, but otherwise to say, actually, we're now closing down those public gatherings as a way of limiting things. And actually, if you look at the number of cases, France is far below Italy. So in some ways, this is actually proactive leadership rather than reactive leadership.
OK, David Lees at the University of Warwick, thank you very much for being with us.